Welcome back to Just Scribble. Recently I had seen that Erin Condren had launched new notebooks and planners that were with Japanese style paper. That's what they were listed as. And originally they were also listed, at least on what I had seen, as a B6 Slim notebook. But I know that they're not actually B6 Slim size. I know they're actually B6 size. But the listing says that they have Japanese style paper, if you can see that there. And then in the actual description, it says that the interior pages are a 54-pound text weight slim Japanese style paper and that it's imported. And I was kind of intrigued by this for a couple of reasons. One was because Erin Condren has always been known for their paper. So when I used Erin Condren, and as far as I know, one of their big appeals was the fact that they used Mohawk paper, that they had it made specifically for them. It was made in the US. And so I kind of thought their thing was US made, so US made paper, right? So when I saw that they were making products with some Japanese-like paper and that it was imported, I was really just intrigued. I wanted to check it out. It seems off-brand to me for them because like I said, I thought that their kind of thing was that they made their paper here in the United States. And so importing the paper seemed kind of off-brand to me. But then I also thought it was interesting because they were calling it Japanese-like or Japanese style. I guess it doesn't say like, I guess it says style. Japanese style paper. And it doesn't say Japanese paper, and then it says imported, made me think that this paper is not made in Japan, and so it's not actually a Japanese paper. And so I wanted to check them out and kind of see what it was about because I was intrigued. So they have, let me see if I can find this. Okay, so they have a B6 monthly planner, a B6 graph notebook, a productivity graph notebook, some bundles, and then some fake leather covers that you can put on them. And then let's see, more productivities, more graphs, and then a lined notebook and another notebook. And then in the Japanese style paper, they also had a pocket notebook. So they had these B6 notebooks and planners, and then some fake leather covers for them, and then these pocket notebooks all in this Japanese style paper. And so I was intrigued. So I bought 2 of them to share with you guys and to kind of test out. I really wanted to see what this paper was about, where it was from, because I knew it wasn't from Japan based on the wording, but obviously it wasn't from the US either based on the wording. And so I kind of wanted to check that out. And then I also just wanted to see them in person, like what size they actually were. So the 2 that I bought were the Pocket Slim notebook in this pink cover, and then the B6 Slim Productivity Graph notebook because it had a unique layout. So the Pocket Slim is 3.8 by 6 inches. So it is not a pocket size notebook. Pocket is 3.5 by 5.5. So it is a little bit wider and a little bit taller. So for comparison, this is a pocket size notebook from Planner Monkey Co. You can see that it's wider and it's taller. And I'm going to take the plastic off real quick. And so it should be more similar in size based on the dimensions to the new Stalogy A6 Slim. Let me take it out of this cover. If you didn't know, the Stalogy A6 Slim and the Leuchtturm Pocket / A6, because it's not really a pocket, not really an A6, they fit in the Pocket Moterm covers, the ones that have this like little slip leather band. So this is the A6 Slim from Stalogy. I do have videos sharing this. So it is actually even taller than that. So it's going to be bigger than the Leuchtturm Pocket / A6. It's a really unique and different size. It's larger than Pocket. It's smaller than A6. It's smaller than Personal. This is an A6 Stalogy, so you'll see that the A6 is wider, but the Erin Condren is taller. So it's really a unique kind of odd size because it is not a pocket size, even though they call it pocket. And this one is 80 GSM Korean paper. So the paper is from Korea. And then this is their B6, and this is where I was saying it says slim. So it said B6 Slim Productivity Graph, but it is not a B6 Slim. It's just skinny, not because it's actually a B6 Slim size. So let me open this one. And this one is also 80 GSM Korean paper, and it is 4.9 by 6.9, which is ISO B6 size. So it is going to be, let me see what I've got to show you or what I can compare it to. So this is a B6 Slim Stalogy, And you can see that the Erin Condren is not slim like a B6 Slim Stalogy. And then this is a B6 Slim. It's taller because it's JIS size, but narrower because this is a slim. And then this is a Sterling Ink B6 Slim, which is going to be taller because it's JIS size, but narrower because this is slim. And then this is a B6 Stalogy. So you'll see the B6 Stalogy is taller and wider because it's JIS size, and this is ISO size. So the only other company that I know readily, like off the top of my head, that uses ISO B6 size is Wonderland 222. So if you use a Wonderland 222, you can pair these Erin Condren B6 planners with it, or planners or notebooks, whichever one you want to buy, and you can pair them with your Wonderland 222, and they are the same size, so they'll fit together in the cover. So I'm intrigued by this paper because it is 80 GSM paper. And on their description, they said that this was crafted with trendy Japanese style paper that's feather light yet premium quality. And I think that's a little bit interesting because A, this is Korean paper, not Japanese paper, but this is 80 GSM paper. And so Tomoe River paper, the one that most everybody makes planners and notebooks out of, is 52 GSM, which is significantly thinner than an 80 GSM paper. The other Tomoe River paper that everyone loves is 68 GSM, again, significantly thinner. B7 paper, formerly Cosmo Airlight paper, is 75 GSM. And so most Japanese papers that I've used are less than 80 GSM. I mean, I'm sure that they have 80 GSM papers, but the ones that are what they're considering trendy, or what I would assume they're considering trendy, are a lot thinner than this paper. So I'm curious how it performs. So that's really what we're here for. I just wanted to share these notebooks with you. I wanted to compare them. I wanted to check them out myself. And I wanted to pen test this paper and kind of test the paper. So they have a thick cardstock cover. It has a texture on it, and it's kind of slick on the outside with like a tape binding, and then it's not slick on the inside. And this is the pocket notebook. I think it only came in one style, but the cover designs were different. So it has a place for you to write who this belongs to, and then it has just pages. So all the pages look the same. They have dots, 6 dots, and then lines, and a place where you could kind of put a header, so you could use this like for a daily notebook if you wanted. The date, and then these could be your top 6 things or your priorities, and then you could journal or make to-do lists or what have you there. It does not lay flat, so it will require breaking in and kind of massaging it to get it to lay flat. But once you do that, it seems to lay flat. The paper feels, I don't even know how to explain it. It doesn't feel luxe. So if you touch Tomoe River paper, obviously it's very, very thin, so it has that lovely sound, but it has this kind of beautiful coating on it that makes it feel expensive, or at least to me. And then when you touch Stalogy paper, it's also thin, and again, it feels really nice, like the tactile feel of it is really, really nice. In the Biz, this is a 2020, and so I don't know if this was Mio paper. Honestly, I don't remember, but this also, again, feels really, really nice. 68 GSM TRP feels really, really nice. The Cosmo Airlight or B7 paper feels really, really nice. This doesn't have that sort of finish feel to it. It kind of feels a little bit like Kikuyo business paper. It's a really inexpensive but really good paper that you can use to print on. If you print inserts for like your ring planners or even to add tip-ins to your planners, kind of feels in the texture like that as far as like the smoothness feel, but it feels thicker, and I think it is. I'd have to look up the GSM. It feels thicker, but it doesn't feel as nice. That printer paper, I mean, that's what the Kikuyo business paper is. It's basically like printer paper, copy paper. It feels nicer. This does not feel very expensive, I guess. At least to me, it doesn't feel as nice as I had expected, given the Japanese style and trying to make something with the trendy Japanese style paper. So that's interesting to me. We are going to pen test it in a minute, but that is the pocket notebook. And again, I think it only comes in this like layout. And then this is the B6, and I picked up the productivity graph because it was a unique layout. I didn't have any need for a monthly, especially since they're Sunday start. I didn't want just like a graph notebook. I figured if I was going to pick these up, I should make them something unique. And this was a unique layout, and this is a unique layout. So again, cardstock, it does have a texture and a sort of slickness there and the tape there, but it's just plain white cardstock on the inside. It says productivity notebook there. It has a place for you to write your name, but it doesn't say this book belongs to, like the pocket one. And then it goes straight into it. Of course, your first page that's attached to the end papers is always like stuck. It is interesting to me that your end papers are not the same paper that you put inside your book. And it's interesting to me that they decided to start the layout on the end papers. So your very first spread is on this instead of the paper that's actually the 80 GSM Korean paper. So that's interesting to me. Let me see. Same thing on this one. Yeah, they did it on the end papers. So you can kind of tell by the sound. So I find that to be an interesting decision to use the end papers to put the actual layout on. All right, so this is the productivity graph. It has 3 sections here, and then a checklist here, a little box here, and then graph paper there. And the whole notebook is like that. I don't really know what the intent behind this layout was. I'll have to look it up or watch some people's unboxings from, I think they just did like a reveal of new planners or something. It's like their planner time, I think, for Erin Condren. I'm not 100% sure because I don't use their planners anymore. But there had to have been kind of like an intent on how they thought this would be used. You could use this for a lot of things. This could be like your wellness, and you could do your food logging here. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could do a list of things you need to do. You could put a sticker here. You could build graphs or habit trackers there, whatever it is that you wanted. It's an interesting layout. It's simple, which I like, but I don't know exactly how I'm going to use it or what I'm going to use it for. Really, I just wanted to check these out. And since I was checking them out, I figured I'd turn on the camera and do it with you guys. So that is the layout. And again, the paper. Now, interestingly enough, these papers are not the same. Now that's interesting. So they both say 80 GSM Korean paper on them. If you see that there and there. So let me look at the listing. So the B6 says interior 54-pound text weight slim Japanese style paper, trendy Japanese style paper, lay flat binding. It does have a lay flat binding if you press on it. It doesn't lay flat immediately like some of our planners do. Let's see. While we're on here, let me see if it tells me what the productivity planner is for, or a productivity notebook. It's not a planner. It says it's a goal-getter's journal combining a graph layout with integrated checklists to keep you organized and inspired. It says it has a linen textured cover, but it's not really linen. It feels plasticky. It doesn't feel linen-y, even though it looks like it. All right, so that was the one I bought. And then let's find the pocket one. Where'd they go? And it also says interior 54-pound text weight Japanese slim paper. It says it lies flat. It says it has a linen cover. It's not. You can see, I think, probably on the camera, like the slickness. It doesn't have a linen feel. It has like a coating on it. It says it's ultra portable, and it makes a trendy mini traveler's notebook, I guess. Okay. So that's what they said about it. But what's interesting to me is these papers do not feel the same. This paper has a different coating feel to it. It also feels thinner. So I'm going to try to figure out how I could demonstrate that. I mean, obviously you guys can't feel it through the television, or, well, I don't think you're watching on the television. Through the screen. Words are good. Through the screen. But let's see if the sound makes it. Can y'all tell? I don't even know if you guys can tell. But they do not feel the same at all. This one is lighter. A little hard to like prove out because on this one there's a different print on both sides, and on this one it's the same print. But yeah, they don't feel the same. That's really interesting. This one feels much thicker and less luxe. This one actually feels quite nice. All right, let's pen test. That's the last thing we're going to do. I just really wanted to check these out. I am, as you guys probably know, a paper snob. I love paper. And so part of this was just my always wanting to find some awesome notebook with awesome paper. And sometimes that's as easy as buying something from Walmart from Pen & Gear. And sometimes that's buying something from my shop or another small business or a shop like Erin Condren's, which is kind of, you know, in between buying from Pen & Gear at Walmart and buying from a small business. And then part of it was my shop, right? Like just me being curious about papers that people are offering and where the papers are coming from as I navigate being able to offer new things and, you know, trying different things. I always want to try new things. So, all right, I'm not going to test the last page. Well, actually I will. We'll do both. This is the end paper. So this is not the same paper as this. So normally I would do my pen test here. And I will in this instance just so we can test the end paper, but this is really the paper we want to test. So on both of them, and of course it's like the end paper, so it's kind of stuck. On both of them, we're going to test the end paper first, just because it's there and it's a different paper. And then we'll test the other one. So I pulled out a few different things, and I'm just going to quickly go through and do this so it doesn't take up too much time. But I pulled out a Tombow and I picked random colors. So we have Tombow. I have this highlighter called Just Fit. I have Primrosea. Oh, the lids are always tight on those. I have a Zig Clean Color Dot. I don't know if I even know what color this is. Oh, just red. We'll do big, big, little. Just a variety. A mild liner. A click art. Should put the lid back on my Tombow before it dies. All right, and then a Pilot G2. G2. Inner gel. A fountain pen. This is my Leonardo that I'm in love with. Isn't it pretty? It's like pretty stone. I love it. Let's see. I'll do this highlighter. And I think this fountain pen is out of ink. Yeah, that's a bad example. Out of ink. I don't know if I have any other fountain pens handy that are inked. All right, since that fountain pen didn't work, we'll do a Unizento. And then we'll do some ink. So I have this Festive Joy Diamine ink, and I have Air Bubble, a dip pen. And we'll do that. All right, these are the end papers, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other page, like the actual paper. All right, so there's the pocket. End paper did not do very well. There's a lot of bleed through and a lot of ghosting for an end paper. Same thing over here, because I presume it's the same end papers on both sides. All right, so now let's do the same thing, but let's do it on the actual Korean paper. So we have Tombow, Just Fit. Primrosea, Zig Clean Color Dot, Mild Liner, Click Art, G2, Inner Gel, Mind Leonardo Beautiful Pen, the Right Deck Highlighter, let's get my fountain pen that was dead because it doesn't add any value, the Zento, and then we'll do this fountain pen ink. All right, so here is the pocket. Ooh, wow. So it is feathering on that fountain pen ink that I used the dip pen on. It's not feathering with the Zento. Doesn't seem to be, well, there's like a hint of feathering on my Leonardo. And then around the edges of the Zig Clean Color Dot, and actually around the edges of the Tombow also. So there's the front, but it's really bad on the back. So the ghosting is really heavy, which is weird for an 80 GSM paper. And that's a lot of bleed through. So the Tombow bled on the ends, all the highlighters bled on the ends. The click art didn't seem to bleed. Bled. The piece that I did with my glass dip pen bled terribly, so did the Zig Color Dot. And interestingly enough, I can show this. The end paper performed better than the paper, which is crazy. So the paper does not perform as well as their end papers. Okay, so that's the pocket. And like I said, these felt different, so I'm curious. We'll compare them to each other in a second. But over here, we had less feathering on the dip pen. I don't see any on the Leonardo, maybe just a smidge. The highlighters and the Tombows seem less feathery, and the Zig has just like a tiny bit. And then on the back, we have lots of bleed through on the highlighters, but it seems a little bit less. The Zig bled through, my Leonardo bled through. And actually the Zento, it kind of looks like it wants to. You can see that there. And again, and there you can see the end paper versus the paper. The ghosting is much worse on the paper, which that I would expect just because the thickness is going to be different. But on an 80 GSM paper, I don't think it should ghost this badly. But the bleed through is worse as well. So the end paper is performing better than the actual paper. Interesting. I was kind of hoping that this paper was going to be good because then I'd have more use for these notebooks, but I'll play with them anyways. I don't know what I'm going to use them for anyways. I just wanted to try them out and share them, and I was really intrigued by this Japanese style paper. All right, so there's a comparison to the Pocket and the B6. Like I told you, the paper on the B6 feels different. Everything says it's the same. Same GSM, same weight, same explanation, all of that, but they felt very different in thickness and then also like the coating on it, and they're performing differently as well. Although both of them had bleed through and some feathering, the B6 performed much better than the Pocket. But in my understanding, it would be the same paper. There's nothing that tells me that these are two different papers in their listings or even in their stickers because they say the exact same thing. Huh, interesting. All right, well, those are the Erin Condren notebooks. I just wanted to check them out and share them with you guys. They're unique layouts, so I'm sure I'll figure out a good way to use these. I think they'd be really good just purse notebooks, right? Scratch notes. Then I'd just be using, you know, a gel pen or a ballpoint pen or something like that. And so it wouldn't matter the quality of the paper. But that's my little share. I was going to check these out. I wanted to see them for myself. I wanted to test the paper, and I thought I would bring you guys along for the ride. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to put them down below, and I will definitely get back with you. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos, and don't forget to just scribble.